Hello everyone, and wow, do I have a lot of new subscribers. Thank you all so much for coming and for checking out my channel and for sticking around. Gosh, I'm overwhelmed because I suddenly went over 1,000 and I'd been floundering forever at like 956 and just up and down one or two, and then all of a sudden, whew, over 1,000. So thank you so much. If there's something specific that you want to ask me, or if you want to see, please comment in the video. So what have I been up to? Lots and lots of sewing of these appliques on the jade blankets. So, oh, come here. Let's see if I can do it without dropping them. So, still working on them. Yep. So I do have all the houses made and sewn down. I have one set of trees sewn down and the clouds. And I have the other trees and clouds made. Plus I have all the tractors made. And I'm starting to work on the little flowers for them, but haven't quite seriously gotten into that because I think I should probably sew down the trees and the clouds today. And then all I have left to do are the flowers, the pumpkins, and the horses, and that won't take very long. And I don't really have to have these done until the 15th of February, but I'm trying to get them done by this weekend, so that's my goal, and I'm sticking to it. So, also, I'm almost done reading this book, which I've shown in another video. I don't like it as much as the first one. It's not that I dislike it, it's just that it's very, episodic isn't quite the right word, but it just seems like it's more of a prose exposition of a calendar diary. We did this, and we did this, and we did this, and we did this, and so I kind of skim over some of that because it's just it gets a little bit repetitive. But there's one very interesting thing. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on just a moment. It was at the end of a chapter. Now, I should tell you that I went to see Julie Andrews. In 1976, she was appearing at Caesar's Palace, and so I went to see her. When my grandfather passed away in 1973, my mother used some of her inheritance money, which I don't think was very much, but she decided that since he liked to travel, she would take each of us kids on a special trip. Just her and... Hi. She would take each of us kids on a special trip. So my oldest sister went to San Francisco, my next oldest sister went to Hawaii, and I chose Las Vegas to see Julie Andrews. So, hold on a second while I find this into this chapter. Okay, so when I saw her in Las Vegas, I was 16 years old. 16 going on 17 actually. And there are some very interesting things that happened. First of all, I was able to find out where her hotel room was in Caesar's Palace, and it was a suite that took up the whole end of the building that she was in. Very different Caesar's Palace than what is Caesar's Palace today. And there was an elevator just outside the the suite, and there was a bench right outside the elevator, and so I sat on that bench. Now, she is, and was even more at that time, a huge star. And yet, there were not thousands of people clamoring to get to her. It was very quiet. I was the only one there. And even after the shows, and I saw her show twice, and this was in August of 76. I saw one, we arrived on August 16th, and I saw the show that night. And then 2 nights later, I saw the last show she did. And there were not people clamoring at the stage door. It just wasn't. I was the only one there. I did not get to meet her. And for years I had kind of nightmares about trying to find her in the hotel, or in a hotel. And anyway, so the 18th was the last time I saw the show, and then on the 19th I went back up to where her hotel suite was, and there was a maid that was vacuuming out in the hallway, and I just got the sense that they were already gone, that the entourage had left. And I also got the sense, though it was never confirmed by anybody, that Vegas, performing in Vegas just really wasn't her scene, just wasn't her thing. And at the time there were rumors that she was, going to come back and do another show, and I just felt like she's never coming back, never. And wouldn't you know, in this book, let me read you what she said. It's just one little paragraph. She says, when the week was finally over, she was only there for 1 week, I knew without a doubt that I couldn't do Vegas again. Looking back on it now, I realize that the heat, the carnival atmosphere, the incredible effort to be a show-stopping phenomenon twice nightly was, for me, soul-killing. It wasn't where I wanted to be at this stage in my working life. I didn't feel authentic, I just felt alone, and more exposed than I had ever been before. There was none of the creative collaboration of a film or stage musical, and no real satisfaction in the work itself. I was never more happy to return to the soft, moist beach air of Malibu. And let me tell you, this is exactly what I was feeling in 1976. And finally, I got it confirmed that I was right. So, anyhow. So, Rose Likes Crochet tagged me for this granny square thing that's going around. And I do have granny squares made. I am not ready to put them together. I have to actually make more. I had a whole bunch, and I had them sewn together in rows, but that was without any edging around each one to kind of make them uniform, and I didn't like it at all. It looked, I don't want to say it looked tacky, it just didn't look as finished and nice. So I actually cut those apart, and I'm going to redo them. So I also, after I made the last blanket that was granny square, a kind of bluish one, I decided I wanted my blankets to be a little more color coordinated instead of just hodgepodge. So I don't really have enough to make one of a thematic color. Oh, look who's here. Hi. Hi. Oh, I've got April here. You really want to come up? Okay, I guess she wants a hug. So I have to make more. But on one of them, I think I have 22. I need 35. My blankets are going to be 35. And, yeah, and the other one, I don't know, I probably have maybe 10. So, I'll be working on those as soon as I finish these jacket blankets. And Rose Likes Crochet answered a whole bunch of questions, and one of them was, have you ever met anybody famous? And I have met a few famous people, as far as like Hollywood celebrities, and I could tell you who they were, but some of them have passed away, and you might not know the names of some of them. Oh. For example, you know, oh, here, you want to get down? Okay. I used to live in Colorado. That's where I grew up. And my mother was, well, her dad, who passed away in 73, owned a record store. So she was very, very into music and knew certain people. Oh gosh, I'm explaining this terribly. Okay, she didn't personally know the people, but she was very familiar with their music. For example, when we were in Las Vegas, she went to see somebody whose music she had grown up with, and the person's name was Ruth Brown. I think she was a black singer, just somebody my mother knew about. And so she went to see her one night, and I think I went to see Bob Newhart that night, in between the Julie Andrews things. But my mother in Colorado had taken me to Denver one time. We went to see George Shearing. Also, he's passed away. He was a blind pianist, very famous, and saw Sammy Davis Jr., who came to the U.S. Air Force Academy, which is really where I grew up, and I met him, but it was very, very brief, and he signed a picture I had drawn. I used to do a lot of portraiture, and met Lynn Redgrave. She's also passed away. She was in Denver at the Elitch Theater. She was doing California Suite, and so this must have been maybe around 1976 or 77 when she came through. And went backstage. There was just me and a couple of little old ladies. It wasn't like she was mobbed. So I met celebrities, and then when I came out here to California to do my master's degree in film, there were celebrities that I met as part of being in film. And I guess the most, to me, the most important one that I met was because I'd written a screenplay, and I submitted it to this particular actor, and he was a big actor, and he just absolutely fell in love with it and called the guy I was working with at the time, who was on board as a producer. And so we met in the actor's agent's office, which was at, I think it was Creative Artists was where we went, Creative Artists Agency. And the actor was Timothy Dalton, who played James Bond a couple times, and he's done a slew of other stuff. But the film project never went anywhere, but Timothy absolutely loved the project, and he was just very gracious and kind. And but he's not the kind of actor who has his own film company and is developing his own projects. So he just leaves all that development stuff to other people. That's their jobs. He just does the acting job. And so getting the project off the ground was not something he was interested in participating in. That he didn't consider that his job, because he never did any of that. And like I said, he didn't have his own production company. I still don't think he does. I mean, maybe he does as a little tax shelter or something, but he's not actively creating and going after his own projects like a lot of actors do. And that was in 1994 when I met him. And there have been a few others out here. One which you probably won't really know her name, but you probably would have seen the movie, the most famous movie that she did, which is Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and the actress was Sally Ann Howes. And I finally met her in 2005 after a performance here, and so that was really, really cool. Because I had seen her perform live several times, but just had missed the opportunity to really get to meet her, and finally I did. And once again, nobody around. So, anyhow, back to crocheting, and hope this wasn't too boring. Not real good at just talking off the cuff, but those are some of my little stories. So I will talk to you all later, and again, thank you so much for coming on board. And I want to just add, my viewing hours are only about a third of what they need to be. I think you need 4,000 hours, and I just barely have over 1,000 viewing hours. So if you could all do me a favor, just open up another YouTube tab on your browser, hit my playlist, and just turn off the sound, and just let that tab do its own thing, and just leave it alone and let it play. If you could all just do that for me, I'd really appreciate it, just to try to get my hours up, because I don't know if I'll ever get them up. But yeah, that's it, I guess, for this video, and have a great rest of the week. Bye.